When I escaped North Korea in 2019, I thought I knew what freedom looked like. I was wrong. Nothing could prepare me for what I saw when I first arrived in South Korea. Today, I want to show you something that breaks my heart every single day: the truth about two Koreas, separated for over 70 years now, living in completely different centuries. This is my story about the two Koreas you never see on the news. The first time I saw the KTX bullet train in Seoul Station, I cried. Not tears of joy, tears of anger and confusion. How could this be the same country? The same people? In North Korea, our fastest train takes 6 hours to travel from Pyongyang to Chongjin. If it doesn't break down, and it breaks down constantly. The seats are wooden benches. There's no heating in winter. Sometimes no electricity for lights. People bring candles, but in South Korea, the KTX travels from Seoul to Busan over 400 kilometers. In just 2 hours and 18 minutes. It reaches speeds of 305 kilometers per hour. Inside, there are comfortable seats, clean bathrooms, Wi-Fi, charging ports, and you can even order food delivered to your seat. When I first rode the KTX, I kept thinking, we are the same people. We speak the same language. We share 5,000 years of history. How did we end up so different? Let me show you what a typical day looks like in both Koreas. You won't believe they exist in the same world. A South Korean wakes up at 7 a.m. Their smartphone alarm goes off, maybe the latest Samsung or iPhone. They check the news, weather, and messages before getting out of bed. They take a hot shower with running water. They make coffee with an electric machine. Or stop at a Starbucks on the way to work. They use a transportation card to take the subway. Clean, fast, air-conditioned trains that arrive every 3 to 5 minutes. Or they drive their own car, using a GPS navigation system. Some people now even take electric taxis or ride-sharing services. North Korea, morning. A North Korean wakes up at 5 a.m. if they slept at all. Electricity is rationed, so there's no alarm clock. They might have slept in their clothes because there's no heating. They wash their face with cold water. They collected from a public pump the night before. There's no running water in most homes. For breakfast, they eat corn porridge if they're lucky. Rice is a luxury saved for special occasions. Then they walk to work, sometimes 2 hours each way. There's no public transportation that works reliably. Bicycles are expensive. Cars? Forget it. Only the elite in Pyongyang have cars. Before work, they attend a mandatory self-criticism session, where they confess their mistakes and praise the supreme leader. Every single day. Here's what really haunts me: South Korea didn't start rich. After the Korean War in 1953, South Korea was one of the poorest countries in the world. Poorer than North Korea, actually. But look at what happened. South Korea's journey. 1970s started building highways and modern infrastructure. 1980s became a manufacturing powerhouse: electronics, cars, ships. 1990s democratized and embraced technology. 2000s became a global leader in internet, smartphones, K-pop, and movies. 2010s advanced robotics, AI, electric vehicles. 2020s leading in semiconductors, batteries, biotechnology. Today, South Korea is the 10th largest economy in the world. Average life expectancy 83 years. GDP per capita over $32,000. Unemployment around 3%. Almost everyone has access to healthcare, education, internet, and modern conveniences. The KTX is just one symbol. There's also universal high-speed internet. South Korea has the fastest internet in the world. Advanced healthcare system with affordable insurance. World-class education system. Modern airports connecting to the entire world. Clean energy initiatives and electric vehicle infrastructure. Cultural exports that the whole world loves. North Korea's reality. While South Korea was building the future, what was North Korea doing? Nuclear weapons. That's it. That's the priority. Since the 1990s, North Korea has conducted 6 nuclear tests. They've launched over 100 ballistic missiles. They've spent billions of dollars. Money that could have fed their people, built hospitals, created schools, developed infrastructure. Meanwhile, 40% of the population is malnourished. Average life expectancy 72 years, 11 years less than South Korea. GDP per capita estimated at $1,300, 25 times less than South Korea. No internet for regular citizens. Electricity works maybe 4 to 6 hours a day in most areas. Most people have never made an international phone call. The train system hasn't been upgraded since the Soviet era. Roads are unpaved outside major cities. Most hospitals lack basic medicine and equipment. The regime tells us that nuclear weapons will protect us. Make us strong, make us respected. But respected by whom? We're isolated, sanctioned, starving. Here's something that shocked me when I came to South Korea. Despite everything, despite the wealth, the technology, the comfort, South Koreans still talk about one thing from North Korea with longing. Okryu-gwan cold noodles. Yes, you heard that right. Naengmyeon from Okryu-gwan restaurant in Pyongyang. When the South Korean President Moon Jae-in met Kim Jong-un in 2018. North Korea brought Okryu-gwan naengmyeon to the summit. South Korean media went crazy. People were so excited. Some people cried. I couldn't understand it at first. South Korea has thousands of amazing restaurants. Michelin star dining. Every type of cuisine from around the world. Why would they care about cold noodles from Pyongyang? Then I realized it's not about the noodles. It's about memory. It's about loss. It's about home. For older South Koreans, Okryu-gwan represents a time before the division. A unified Korea. Families that weren't separated. A restaurant their parents or grandparents might have visited. For younger South Koreans, it represents something. They've never experienced a connection to the other half of their country. A place they can't visit. People they can't meet. Culture they can't access. That's the tragedy of division. South Korea has everything material you could want. But they're missing something money can't buy, their other half. And in North Korea, we have nothing material. But we're told we're pure and revolutionary because we're isolated from the corrupt South. Both sides are incomplete. There's a place in South Korea that breaks my heart every time I visit Dorasan Station. It's the northernmost train station in South Korea, just a few kilometers from the DMZ. It was built in 2002 with hope for reunification. The station has signs pointing to Pyongyang. There are immigration and customs facilities, ready to process passengers traveling north. But no trains go there. The tracks end at the border. I stood there last year and cried. The KTX could reach this station. Modern, fast, comfortable trains could theoretically continue north to Pyongyang. Then beyond to China and Russia. The Trans-Korean Railway could connect to the Trans-Siberian Railway. You could take a train from Busan to London. The infrastructure is ready on the South Korean side. The technology exists. The plans are drawn. But it will never happen. As long as North Korea prioritizes nuclear weapons over its people. I imagined what it would be like, families reunited. Taking the KTX to visit relatives in the north. North Korean students coming south for education. Then returning home to build their country. Trade, culture, friendship flowing freely. Instead, there's silence, empty tracks, a locked border. In North Korea, we were taught that South Korea is hell. That people are starving, that Americans control everything, that South Koreans are slaves to capitalism, desperate and miserable. When I escaped and saw Seoul for the first time, I was shocked. Where was the suffering? Where were the desperate people? Instead, I saw elderly people exercising in parks, healthy and active. Students going to school with backpacks full of books, not worry about food. Families eating in restaurants, laughing together. People choosing their jobs, their clothes, their lives. Nobody bowing to portraits of leaders. Nobody attending mandatory political sessions. Freedom to criticize the government without fear. Was it perfect? No. South Korea has problems: inequality, pressure to succeed, expensive housing in Seoul, competitive education system. I won't lie about that. But here's the difference: in South Korea, you can talk about these problems. You can protest. You can vote for change. You can start a YouTube channel and criticize the president. And nobody will send you to a prison camp. In North Korea, 3 generations of your family can be imprisoned. Because you said something wrong. Because you didn't cry hard enough when Kim Jong-il died. Because you used a newspaper with the leader's photo to wrap fish at the market. Let me tell you what North Korea sacrificed for nuclear weapons. In the 1990s, during the arduous March famine, between 600,000 and 1 million North Koreans died of starvation. I was a child then. I watched people die in the streets. I ate tree bark and grass to survive. At the same time, the regime was spending billions on nuclear weapons programs. They could have bought food. They could have accepted international aid without conditions. They could have reformed the economy like China or Vietnam did. Instead, they chose pride. They chose weapons. They chose isolation. Today, North Korea claims to have nuclear weapons capable of reaching the United States. Maybe that's true, but at what cost? The average North Korean is 3 to 8 centimeters shorter than the average South Korean due to childhood malnutrition. Tuberculosis and other preventable diseases are common. Women give birth without pain medication or proper medical care. Children study in classrooms with no heating and no electricity. Families burn furniture and books to stay warm in winter. Is this strength? Is this protection? Meanwhile, South Korea invested in its people, and now Samsung is a global technology leader. K-pop groups perform in sold-out stadiums worldwide. Korean movies win Oscars. Korean series dominate Netflix. Hyundai and Kia compete with the world's best car makers. South Korea successfully launched its own satellites and is developing a space program. Who is really stronger? The country with nuclear weapons and starving people? Or the country with no nuclear weapons but global influence? Economic power and soft power that makes the world fall in love with Korean culture? Here's what the statistics don't show you. Every North Korean family is broken. Everyone has lost someone to the system, executed, imprisoned, starved, or disappeared. I had an uncle who questioned why we needed nuclear weapons when people were starving. He disappeared. We never saw him again. My family was demoted in the Songbun system, the social classification system. We became wavering class instead of loyal class. That meant worse jobs, worse rations, constant surveillance. My cousin tried to escape to China in 2015. She was caught and sent to a labor camp. We heard she died there after 2 years. She was 19 years old. My childhood friend's father was a train engineer. He told a joke about the leader's train being slow. Someone reported him. 3 generations grandparents, parents, children sent to a political prison camp. I never saw my friend again. This is the cost of North Korea's choice. Real people, real families, real dreams destroyed. Meanwhile, in South Korea, families plan vacations. Students dream about college and careers. Young people fall in love and get married without permission from the party. Parents watch their children grow up healthy and educated. These aren't different peoples. We're the same ethnicity, same DNA, same ancestors, same language, same traditional culture. The only difference is the system. The choices our leaders made. You might ask, is there any hope? Can things change? I want to believe they can. But I'm not naive anymore. The North Korean regime has survived longer than the Soviet Union, longer than East Germany, longer than any other communist dictatorship. They've learned from others' mistakes. They control information completely. They've made the people dependent on the state for survival. They've created a cult of personality so strong that many North Koreans genuinely believe the Kims are gods. Change will be slow. It will be painful. It might not happen in my lifetime. But here's what gives me hope. More North Koreans are seeing smuggled South Korean dramas and movies on USB drives. They're seeing how the other half lives. They're seeing the lie. Young North Koreans in border regions have illegal Chinese cell phones. They're accessing outside information. They're questioning the propaganda. More people are escaping. More defectors are telling their stories. The truth is getting out. And in South Korea, despite everything, despite 70 years of separation, people still care about reunification. They still consider North Koreans their brothers and sisters. They still want that train to Pyongyang to run. That matters. That means something. To my fellow defectors, your story matters. Your voice matters. Don't let anyone silence you or make you feel guilty for escaping. You survived. You deserve to live fully. To South Koreans, thank you for accepting us. Thank you for the freedom you've built. Don't take it for granted. Your democracy, your rights, your comfort, they weren't inevitable. They were fought for, protected, nurtured. And yes, please keep making jokes about wanting Okryu-gwan naengmyeon. It reminds us that reunification isn't just political, it's personal, cultural, emotional. To North Koreans who might somehow see this, I know you're suffering. I know you're afraid. I know you're hungry. But please know you deserve better. You deserve what your brothers and sisters in the South have. You deserve trains that run on time, food that fills your stomach, freedom to think your own thoughts. You are not inferior. You are not less worthy. Your government failed you, not the other way around. To the international community, please don't forget North Korea. When you see news about nuclear tests and missiles, remember there are 25 million people behind that regime. People who didn't choose this. People who can't escape. People who deserve help. Every time I ride the KTX, I look out the window at the Korean countryside rushing by at 300 kilometers per hour, and I think about the people I left behind. People who will never ride this train. People who will never know this freedom. Two Koreas, one people, 70 years apart. South Korea built bullet trains, became a technological powerhouse, created a cultural wave that swept the world. North Korea built nuclear weapons and let its people starve. The tragedy isn't just the difference. The tragedy is that it didn't have to be this way. We could have both taken the path forward. We could have both built KTX trains and Okryu-gwan restaurants that everyone could enjoy. We could have been one people, united and free. Maybe someday we still will be. Until then, I'll keep telling the truth. I'll keep showing the world what division costs. I'll keep hoping for that train to finally cross the border. Thank you for listening to my story. This is the truth about two Koreas. If this story moved you, please share it. The more people understand, the harder it becomes for the world to ignore North Korea's suffering. And maybe, just maybe, change will come. Thank you for watching.